Boom.
We're going live.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Hey! Got the first person already. Okay. So, what is going on, everybody? Me and Kelly are going to be doing a just hanging out Q&A live stream thingamajigger. And I guess we're just going to wait a little bit longer for people to show up.
Where does it show the people? Oh,
there we go. We got some people coming. Michael Lee, T-Dog 2000, Isaac Olson, Brutus the Dog. Read some people.
James McDonald, Gavin, how do you say that?
Roberti.
Yeah. Alex Castillo. Okay, yeah, they're coming in. Your wife is really pretty. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, see, we got 83 people already. See how it says it right here?
Mm-hmm.
83 people. I don't know why this isn't doing it. But anyways, let's go over to the normal live stream thing. Okay, so what is going on, everybody? So like the title, I think, should be saying is we're just doing a live Q&A. I've been having so many live streaming issues recently. It is insane. But yeah, so you can ask us questions. You can ask Kelly questions. You can ask me questions. You can ask Army questions. You can ask all of the above questions. So Cynthia says, OMG, my favorite couple. Thank you, Cynthia.
Hey.
Good to have you in the stream. Howdy, Matt and Kelly. All right, so do you want to, if you see anything, you can just stop me from talking or whatever. Prod Kama said, is Matt a dad? Almost. Almost, everybody. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. If you join JROTC and ROTC, do you get an extra rank up as an officer from JROTC, or is that just enlisted? That is just enlisted. Doing ROTC makes you an officer. JROTC has no effect on your officer rank. I believe I saw some questions up here before. I came for the comments. Let's see. Benjamin Park says, how did you meet and how long did it take for you two to get married?
We met on Facebook and we were married 11 months after we started dating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, we met on Facebook. Technically, our families knew each other, though, which is kind of why we met on Facebook, if that makes sense. Thoughts on the pararescuemen? I haven't heard anything about anything. So during all this whole coronavirus stuff, like for the first little bit, I was watching the news and things like that, but pretty much I've been not paying attention to news or anything that's really been going on in the news as of recently, at least just for me. So if anything's kind of really gone on in the news, I've just kind of been avoiding the news. So how long does it take to become a Green Beret? I believe from start to finish. So the beginning of selection, or maybe it's the beginning of basic training, it's like 2.5 years. It's like once you get selected, it's like 1.5 years, I think. So I guess from basic training on would be 2.5 years, I think. And it's also like an on average thing because they have different courses. And if you fail a course, you may restart another course. So Cynthia's got a question for you, Kelly. How do you feel about delivery? Are you scared?
Not actually like having the baby, but I don't know, like the healing up and everything. I'm kind of nervous for that. And that's pretty much it. And I'm like really, I'm scared about getting postpartum. That's like my biggest concern is I don't want that. I hear like horror stories about it. So that's about it.
That's how you feel? Okay. But yeah, so I always have to say this because people are always, viewing in and out. So not everybody probably watching the stream right now knows. But me and Kelly are having a baby. She is 29 weeks pregnant right now. And I always share it on Instagram and stuff if you guys follow me on Instagram. But she is still running like a champ. She's still killing it. We're either walking or running like every day. Mm-hmm. And whenever she runs, I mean, she's running like a 10-minute mile pace. Ugh, about bird. And you weigh like about how much more than you did before?
23 pounds more.
So she weighs 23 pounds more than when she first got pregnant. And she's running faster now than she was when she got pregnant. So that's just absolutely amazing. Prod Canvas says, how are you guys doing in the quarantine? I mean, I think I'm doing pretty good. My life is mostly the same with the exception of going out to eat. But yeah.
I miss going out to eat.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I miss, leave a comment in the chat. What do y'all miss the most about the whole quarantine thing? For me personally, I just miss going to the gym. Like, I have like a little pull-up bar and like 2 dumbbells, right? So we can do some stuff here, but I definitely miss going to the gym and having that hour and a half in the gym.
What'd Cynthia say?
Great. Would I ever try Special Forces and try to become a Green Beret? No. If you guys saw my old videos, the first time that I was going to enlist, whenever I was 18, just about 19, I had a Special Forces contract, but I ended up backing out of that. Not because of... You guys can watch all those videos, but I ended up kind of leaving the idea behind of joining the military until I joined later on. Because back whenever I was 18 or so, really the thing that I was really passionate about was joining the military. But again, if you guys go back and watch those videos, I decided not to do it. How do you think... Oh, where did it go? How do you think the virus will affect boot camp in all branches of the military even after the virus is contained? I'm not sure it's honestly going to affect the military after the virus is contained. The only thing that I can think of is, we got a super chat. The thing popped up over here. My thing is, the alert is jacked up, but it's okay. But I think maybe the barracks, they may have some restrictions on the amount of people that could be in like a platoon or something, and kind of space people out in the barracks. But it's kind of one of those things where, I mean, you kind of have to have a group of people together. Mm-hmm. And if you guys didn't know, like I've talked about in videos, when you go to basic training, you should expect to get sick, because that happens for a lot of people. Like, you're at the very least going to get like a stuffy runny nose at the very least. But a lot of people are going to get sick in some sort of way because it's just people all over the world coming into a small confined space. I'm not sure how much it's going to affect after the virus is contained. But we got Alex Handley over here with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Hey Matt, what are your thoughts on on Army bands? There's like a job in the military for everybody. So if you're a musician, if you kind of like that stuff, but then you also would like to play for the Army and then travel around a lot, that would be an awesome gig for you. Obviously, I got a video coming out. I think I'm going to upload it tomorrow about jobs that don't, or what jobs see combat, and that would be one of those jobs where you just have a lot of fun traveling around as a band and playing at basic training graduations, playing at different events and such. So, have you said anything for you? Mm-mm. Just look at...
He said, how long does it take to become an Army Ranger?
Where's the question?
Right here.
How long does it take to be an Army Ranger? So if you're talking about RASP, it's 9 weeks, I believe, of training. So technically that's how long it takes to get through the selection process. But then after that, again, there's like an additional year or so of training that you're going to be going through. So...
Is it still doing the zombie?
It's still doing the zombie. Guys, this right here, that's the default alert. I can't get this crap worked out. I'm telling you. I try so hard all the time on this, and it is it's just being a pain. At least the recent chat thing up there is working. But Caleb, hey Matt, what do you think of 19 kilo? Let me look at 19 kilo real quick. I don't remember every MOS. I forget a lot. Job duties of a 19 kilo M1 armor crewman, rod powers. Okay. So if you, I mean, I don't know anything specifics about the job, but if the armor branch is something that entices you and you kind of like want to be around all those heavy vehicles, if you want to be around those tanks and stuff, I mean, I think it's a cool idea. It's one of those jobs where you get to be around just a bunch of cool stuff, honestly. So, I mean, that's really all I have to say about it. I don't really know anything about the day-to-day life or any specifics about the job in and of itself. So, I'm going to try and figure this out if you want
to. Devin McClune. Kelly, what do you think about Matt being in the Army? I like it because he's in the reserves. So, I still get to see him all the time. It's just 1 weekend a month. And I haven't had to deal with an annual training yet?
Nope.
And I won't have to this year because he'll either get excused from it because our son being born, or they won't have it because of all this virus.
Yeah, they haven't officially announced my annual training being canceled for this summer, but I am assuming that it is going to be. So keep going because I'm trying to figure some stuff out.
Cynthia said, you gotta stop it because it's scrolling up too far. How did y'all like today's service? Do you guys usually attend the Elevation Church? It was good. Pastor Stephen never disappoints. And yes, we go to the Concord campus. And we're getting a new building soon. I'm excited. Like 2 miles down the road. Do you want me to ask you a question?
Yeah, if you see one that's good. You see, we got Appalachia Nord with the $2 super chat. Congrats, Mr. and Mrs. Ward. The joy is only beginning. I know we are both very, very excited. Very, very excited. And it just showed another thing. But I'm trying, just, this is just going to get on my nerves if I don't figure this out.
Any pets? Garrison McElwain? No, we don't have any pets. Well, I have a dog, but he lives with my parents because we cannot have pit bulls at the apartment. So, and he'll be 5 this year. He's a big boy.
Okay. I think I fixed the alert box thing.
Did you?
Finally.
So it's not the zombie?
Yeah. It shouldn't be a zombie on the alert box anymore. I think I fixed it. Your hair looks nice. Did your barber cut your hair? If you're talking about me, my sister cuts my hair. So Rachel, shout out to you. She does a great job all the time. Every time I go to somewhere else to get my hair cut, well, I don't necessarily go to really high-end places. I go to like a Great Clips or something, or a Sports Clips. They jack it up about every time. So, what's my favorite MRE? I think it's, let's see here. I usually like the chili macaroni one, but sometimes if you have that one over and over again, it gives you kind of issues with going to the bathroom. But as far as the taste of one that I would like to get, it's chili macaroni. But if I'm gonna have it multiple, I'm not gonna have it like 3 times in a day. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. I'm just saying. Hemingway, Matt, please do Special Forces. I'm not going to do Special Forces. Like I said, whenever I was wanting to do it, whenever I was like 18 or so, like I was single, I really kind of just liked the idea of that. Now that I've got other passions and got a family and things like that, I don't, it's gonna require me to give up a lot of things that I don't want to give up, if that makes sense.
Tommy Slays.
Tommy Slays, what's up?
Hey,
I hope you guys were happy with your gifts from the baby registry. Yes, we were. We got all of that stuff in, and just thank you so much. Thank you for the other ones of you out there that bought some stuff on the baby registry. It's really, really appreciated. As you guys know, first baby, you got to get the most stuff for the first baby, because after that you can reuse about everything. But a person, what's up, a person? I have a speech disability, but I want to enlist. Can I still do it with my speech disability? Honestly, they might have some kind of rules for that. But if it's not too bad, I think you're gonna be fine. People ask me kind of similar things where, like, if like for example, English isn't their first language, they join, they're like, I can barely speak any English. I think you'll be fine. Again, you might be disqualified from doing certain jobs, but I think for the most part, if you're talking to me, even if there's some issues there, if I can get what you're saying, then I think you're going to be fine. Hey man, I joined the Army as a 13. Jay, that is awesome. Sorry about said something else, but leaving for Army Basic at Fort Jackson in less than a month. Thanks for your channel. It's definitely helped me a lot. Joe Stevens, thank you. I appreciate it. Glad my stuff helped. Check to see if it works. I
was, but I haven't seen it pop up.
I think it's delayed a little bit. I don't know. Appellation ORD. I don't know how to say what your name is. Appellation ORD. What are your thoughts on Allied Trade Specialist? I'm not sure if I know much on that. I could do a quick little search just to see if anything triggers anything in my mind.
Yeah.
91 Echo. Yes, it actually did a better job of the alert. It was delayed, but it did a better job. Allied Trade, for those of you that don't know what an Allied Trade Specialist is, like myself, an Allied Trade Specialist is primarily responsible for supervising and performing the fabrication, repair, and modification of metallic and non-metallic parts. They operate lathes, drill presses, grinders, and other machine shop equipment. Honestly, just from reading that description, that just straight up sounds like a great job to have if you want a career after the military doing the military's job. So there's a lot of skills that you're probably going to end up learning, a lot of certifications on certain equipment that you're going to get that's going to help you after the fact. So just my initial first impressions, that's something that I get from that. If you watched my video on the other day about how to pick an MOS, if you guys didn't watch that, basically what I'm covering in that is a website that kind of allows you to look at all the different certifications and trainings that you can do for specific MOSs and what civilian occupations, civilian jobs you can get that are related to that one. And so 91 Echo, I bet you could find some good stuff on there. Mom is on here.
Hey,
love
Mom.
You too. What is my rank? I am now officially a first lieutenant, which means I got to update all of my uniforms, which I was just telling her about that. So to update all of my uniforms and sewing on the new first lieutenant rank and stuff, it's going to be like a lot. It's going to be like $100 probably, because I'm going to have to buy the ranks. You have to pay to unsew the previous rank and then sew on the new one. So it's going to be I have like 6 uniforms, 4 patrol caps, and I have to buy ranks and pay to have all that sewn on. I usually keep 1 Velcro and the rest are sewn on. I'm a captain, tactical fisherman. Really, I cannot wait until I'm a captain. I cannot wait. Thoughts on Airsoft? Love y'all's channel. I think it's cool. I actually just watched a video the other day about, I think the title of it or something was, does Airsoft equate to real gun skills? And basically they take this one guy from Japan who's like a professional Airsoft guy, but he's never shot an actual real weapon before. He's only shot Airsoft. And they tested him on some stuff, and he was like super quick. He picked up on it really well. Like at the very beginning, initially, he was just a little bit, I guess, rusty, if that makes sense. But ultimately, he picked up the skills. So as far as like gun skill, Airsoft weapons are essentially the same functionality a lot of times as the actual real weapon itself. They make them very realistic. So I'm not sure about what your strategies and stuff you may be using, because military strategies, some may apply to Airsoft, some, but not all. I mean, you could, a lot of times, like I've seen things where it's like there's an airsoft battle or something, there's an airsoft game going on, or even in paintball, you got one military guy in it, and everybody expects the military guy to just do the best out of everybody, but his sole military, he's the only one in the military himself, he's playing by himself or whatever. But really, our tactics, unless you're talking about, Delta Force or something, we work as a team. So unless you have like a team of people that are working on the same plan, being in the military is going to have just a little bit of an effect. What are you looking at?
This one.
Thinking of joining the Air National Guard under the Innovator. So I understand that it isn't your branch, but what is the worst part about working one weekend a month? The worst part about working one weekend a month. I mean, there's a couple bad parts about it. The worst part is it's only 1 weekend a month. Things would run more smoothly if it was more often. I remember like a couple years ago, they were talking about changing reserves to like 2 weekends in a month. And I've talked about this before. I actually thought that the reserves was 1 week a month. I went through the entire enlistment process thinking, sworn and everything, thinking that it was 1 week, like a whole week, like Sunday to Sunday or whatever. And I still joined the reserves thinking that. Again, that just shows you how little I knew, even though researching all kinds of stuff. But at the same time, from the time I made the decision to join the Army Reserves, I had like sworn in a week later. So I didn't have, I researched, but I knew what I wanted to do and I did that, and I was okay with it being 1 week a month. But anyways, the worst thing is it's being 1 weekend a month is you have a lot of people who have key positions and key roles that are only on ground, that are only at the unit 1 weekend a month. And that means that for that weekend, they are jam-packed, they're damn busy. And honestly, this is kind of like my issue is I have a key role in a key position and I'm only there that 1 weekend. We have calls and I can communicate with my NCOIC and talk to people. But in all reality, my unit is in Houston, Texas. It's in Texas, and I'm in North Carolina. So, again, just things would run a lot smoother in the military for the reserve side of things if it was more than 1 weekend. But that's also a pro because it's just the 1 weekend, So that's my biggest complaint. But there's really nothing you can do about it. It's just you just have to accept it. What's my MOS? I'm a 25 Alpha, which is a signal officer.
Johnson.
Where?
Right here.
How many push-ups should you be able to do before you join the Army? So whenever I enlisted, if you could do 0 push-ups, then you could make it, okay? As long as you graduate from basic training, then you're going to be fine. Now, if you show up to basic training and you can do 0 push-ups, then they're going to send you off and send you to basically a training camp for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, until you can actually get in a little bit better shape and then come back to basic training. So you're going to be okay as far as graduating basic training no matter what, but you're more likely to get a delayed graduation date now if you go to basic training in really bad shape. And the same thing goes for running. But I would say personally, if you can do 30 push-ups, I think you're okay. Okay? If you can do 30 push-ups, I think you're okay. If you're still like in the lower 20s or in the teens and stuff, you definitely really need to be working on it. And if you can do about 20 push-ups, then I definitely think that you can increase that pretty quickly. But I would say at least that 30 mark, and you'll be okay. But you always want to increase that. So what are my thoughts on the Canadian Navy? No offense to the Canadian Navy, but I've never really thought about it. So I don't know.
You don't know much about it.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Do you do any gaming?
Do I do any gaming? Yeah. I mean, I may do a gaming live stream right after this live stream. Who knows? Do you want to sit in with that one?
No.
You don't want to? Yeah, I mean, I've done one, but I've done some of them before with my Call of Duty live streams. So I play Call of Duty. That's about it. But so stay tuned for a Call of Duty live stream possibly today. And we got Appalachian Ord with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So you said thank you. Thank you much. Thank you so much. This last tip is for the baby bank. Watch your quirks around the baby. The mimicry is real. LOL. Get caught digging for gold and it's all over. Here's to poking it up. Thank you. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And yeah, we're really just everything about having Atlas here in the next less than 12 weeks. Mm-hmm. We're 11 weeks away. Yeah. And that's like the max. Yeah. So technically less than 11 weeks. We are 10 weeks in 6 days. Yeah. But if it comes early, then man, we're so close. Yep. We're so close. So I am so pumped. I am so pumped. All right. So at what age did you decide to join the Army this most recent time? I was 21. And I left for basic training on my 22nd birthday, but I technically joined whenever I was 21. What's the difference between reserves and guard? The biggest difference in the Army Reserves and the Army National Guard is the Army Reserves is like a federal entity, right? So it supports the Army active duty. And then you have the Army National Guard, which is a state entity. So it's controlled by the state, by the governor. It does go in support of federal missions. It can still be deployed and stuff like that. But with the National Guard, you can be activated for state emergencies and things like that. So there's a bunch of National Guard units that are being activated right now. I don't know of any reserves units that are being activated, but they could be because this is a national emergency with the whole COVID-19 thing. But yeah, that's just the biggest difference. And so what comes with that is you got a military, the reserves governed with their primary mission being the nation's concerns, and then you have the National Guard where they have a lot of nationwide concerns, but they also have statewide issues. Isaac Nicholas with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Thanks for the videos. I ship in less than a month. 13 Fox. They helped a lot. So yeah, that's what James does.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So if you haven't watched James's videos already, definitely go check that out for sure. Ty Lopez, but not Lamborghini. Ishan, they force you to buy socks you don't use until AIT. Oh, he's replying to somebody else. How many pair? Okay, so Ishan said, sometimes I do that. Sometimes I read somebody's message that is a reply to somebody else's message in the comments. So shout out to all of you though out there that are in the chat right now answering questions that I can't get to, because I can't get to every question unless I answer in like 2 seconds, which I've been thinking about doing like a rapid fire video where I go through like just 20 questions and just boom, 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 boom.
You have to limit yourself on how much you talk.
Yeah, so I mean, I would have to do like it's rapid fire, so I'd have to do like real quick, but that's a possibility. So, but he said, how many pairs of socks should you bring to basic training? The socks, it doesn't matter. Just bring like 2 pairs of socks because they're going to issue you socks, and you have to wear those socks. Okay. But again, watch the videos that I've made way long ago about what to bring and what to get, things like that. Make sure you buy, I would say, 2 good pairs of socks, like 2 good high quality wool pairs of socks. They'll be like $15, $20 a pair, but they will be so worth it and they will save your life. Like for real. Anyways, I'm glad my Nightbot's working. All right, so Jacob Bradford with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. You want to read this one?
Hey Matt, thanks for all your videos. Learned a lot. I leave for basic in May and will be a 46. What's S?
Sierra.
Very excited. Good luck with your guys' baby.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Tactical fisherman gonna do Army Police. Yeah, so he is a member. So basically, there's some other perks that he can have, but basically, so we got this icon right here. Members will have a specific icon showing how long that they've been a member, and then if David posts again, I can read his message a lot easier. And I can, if you become a member of the channel, I can read your. I'm more likely to read the question. Let's see here. How often did you see people cry at basic? Still Bobby 101. So a lot of people cry on the first phone call home. I'm not that person. Usually it's like people missing their girlfriends and wives and families and things like that. That's usually what it is. It isn't usually people crying from it sucking. But one of the reasons they're crying is because it sucks so bad at the first little bit of basic training. They're like, oh, I miss home. So there'll be a lot of people that cry the first phone call that they have home. But other than that, I don't think anybody cried from like a drill sergeant yelling at them or anything like that. So what are the PFT standards for the Army Rangers? I don't know off the top of my head what they are. But I do believe that they have the additional 5-mile run in under 40 minutes. So, which is an 8-minute per mile pace. You should be able to do that, especially if you're in the Rangers. Nick or treat? You want to read this one?
It's far away, so I have to like lean over.
I don't know why this isn't working over here. This should be working. There's all kinds of issues, I'm telling you. So it's a little annoying, but whatever. Anyways, Nick or treat. If I'm doing a split option for the Army and we're not in the best shape, and worst case scenario, we fail a PT test, does that affect my graduation? So let me just make sure I understand this. If you're doing split options, you're not in the best shape, worst case scenario, you fail a PT test, does that affect your graduation? So again, if you fail your PT test, your ACFT, which is what you're going to be doing now, if you fail those, all you have to do is just pass one of them. You just got to pass one, okay? Preferably at least your last one. You don't want to pass the first one and then fail the last one. That wouldn't make too much sense. But you see how David's thing is right here?
Oh,
it's
that's
green.
Remember?
Yeah. I scroll past it, but anyways, it's green right there. It's got the thing. But yeah, so yes, it'll affect your graduation date if you continually fail because you'll get recycled. It's probably something I don't really talk about all that much, and that is getting recycled because it shouldn't happen to you. It shouldn't. It usually just happens to people who get injured and then they miss a long period of basic training. They miss a whole bunch of training events that are critical, and they get recycled. And so basically that means that they leave their basic training company that they're with right now, and they go back to a different basic training company who was farther back in the cycle. Okay. So if they're on like the 8th week of basic training and they get injured and they can't do anything the last 2 weeks, well, they're probably just going to stay with that company for a little while. And then whenever the rear company kind of gets to that point, they're going to recycle back to that company and then kind of finish out basic training with them. So if you fail a PT test, if you haven't passed any, then you'll get some retests, but odds are you'll probably just get recycled. I think if you get recycled 2 times, that's the most you can get recycled. After that, they don't kick you out, but they like you have to leave, and then I think you have to wait like 6 months to come back. How much do a first lieutenant make a lot? Okay, so how much does a first lieutenant make? you can look up all the different pay scales, the pay grades, the rank, the years in service, things like that. That's just an easily Googleable thing. So it could range from roughly 4,200 to 5,200 is, I think, the range for a first lieutenant. And it just depends on how many years of service you have, time in service. All right, let's see here. Hey Matt, like the video. Quick question: can I play college football and still do or be an RTC? Keep making vlogs, Johnny. I try to do them. They're just a little different. They're a little bit more time consuming. I kind of have to dedicate a period of the day. Anyways, I'm gonna keep doing them. But anyways, yes, you can still do college sports and even just be in the reserves or something like that, ROTC. But the thing is if you have contracted with ROTC, then honestly, the ROTC is going to take precedence over football. But you should, I mean, people are people, and you're going to be able to talk to them. And you may be like, hey, I can't make it to the lab this weekend because we have like a football game or something. They'll be like, okay, you'll just have to make it up another time. Same thing with classes. But there's going to be really key events and summer trainings that you have to go to that are going to be like a month long or something. And you have to go to those. So you can definitely do both at the same time. It is just going to require some communication on your end with your ROTC PMS and your football coach. Should I do ROTC? Yes, if you want to be an officer. I bet you can answer some of these.
Out.
Does anybody like these LaCroix drinks? I got some the other day, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try them because I was looking at their stock or whatever, and I was like, okay, well, if I were to invest in this stock, I got to at least like the drink, and I've gotten a little bit used to it, but I definitely don't think it's my favorite. Any advice, Robert? Any advice for Bullock? Yeah, it depends on your goals, honestly. If you want to have a life, then don't get one of the staff positions. The platoon leader positions that cycle. So watch my video on Bullock. But the platoon leader positions that are going to cycle, platoon leader and platoon sergeant, those will cycle, and they'll be a lot less time consuming. But if you want to get more points, and if you want to be that number one person, then you're going to have to go for one of the staff positions or the commander positions, as far as like student-led positions. So that's number one. If you want to have if you want to have a life at Bullock, because the staff positions are definitely time consuming, especially depending on the ones that you get. That's it. Other than that, from my Bullock to other people's Bullock is you're going to be fine. I wouldn't stress about anything. I wouldn't stress about the FTXs. I wouldn't stress about the tests or anything. I think you'll be fine, and it'll honestly be a fun, good experience for sure. Do you know this one? Is ROTC in high school?
Yes, it is. Hold on.
ROTC.
JROTC is in high school, and then ROTC is in college.
Okay. Yeah, so if you guys didn't hear that, JROTC is high school, ROTC is college. Okay, so if you finish JROTC in high school, like what I talked about earlier, that gives you a little bit of just like the military mindset, a little bit if you wanted to join. And then it also, depending on if you do enough of it, you can also join the military at a higher rank as far as the enlisted side. But and then you can get like a scholarship to do ROTC in college. But ROTC in college is where if you finish that, then you become an officer. So.
Travis Gold said, what is a good ASVAB score?
it's not a question for me to, answer. All right, so a good ASVAB score.
What can you pass with, I think is...
Well, a passing score for the Army, I think, is 31. So you have to have at least a 31 to pass. So think of it this way. If you guys did not know, if you didn't know, the ASVAB, the score that you get on the ASVAB, it's not like, oh, I got a 31, I got a 31 out of 100, which means I missed 69% of the questions. That's not how it works. A 31 means that it's like a percentile thing of, it's a percentile of people taking the test. So a 31 on the ASVAB means that you did better than 30% of the people who took the ASVAB, okay? So you kind of just have to figure out, like, okay, I'm a pretty smart person. I should be able to do like a 70 or something. So if I can score better than 70% of people taking the ASVAB, then I feel good about myself. But for you, honestly, if you get a high enough ASVAB score that qualifies you for the job that you want, I think that's good. Anything other than that is just for your own personal satisfaction of wanting to do good on the ASVAB. So, but I think I narrowed it down at one point before. I said I think if you do more than a 60, I would consider that a good score, because you did pretty far above over half of the people, better than half of the people that took the ASVAB. Is it too late to commission as an officer? I'm about to graduate with a degree in nutrition. I'm currently an E4 in the National Guard, but want to be infantry platoon leader in active. Any suggestions? So if you, well, you could do OCS, or you could also get another degree if you wanted to get like a master's degree or something like that. You could do ROTC. So that's always a consideration, but the answer is no, it is not too late for you to commission. That's definitely for sure. And you can always, again, just like anything else, if you do OCS and you want to do infantry, you're going to get branched active duty if you want to, if you qualify for that, if you place high enough on the OML for that. So there's definitely still a chance for you to be an infantry officer if you want to. I love you. All right, so any questions for Kelly, y'all?
Yeah, I'm about to go shower.
Yeah, she's been kind of just sitting here. Y'all asked a bunch of Army questions. It's okay. Got a
super chat.
Sebastian Sigler with the $4.99 super chat. Hold on just a minute. Hey Matt, tips on leaving younger siblings when choosing active or reserves. Congrats on baby Atlas shooting for 31 Bravo. Thank you, first of all. Tips on leaving younger siblings. Are you like a parent figure for them, where you are kind of parenting them? Other than that, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by leaving your siblings. Do you know?
Mm-mm.
You don't know?
Might just be tight-knit.
I guess so. I mean, if you're a close family, I think you'll be fine. I think even if your siblings, your family members are not wanting you to join whenever you get done with your graduation, they're going to be super excited and happy for you. So I'm not sure if I have any tips for that. I'm sorry about that, but how many months pregnant are you?
Seven, I think. 29 weeks.
She is 29 weeks as of yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gonna
go shower. Yeah.
All right, Kelly's leaving. Say bye.
Bye. How long are you gonna be?
Not too much longer. Show him the belly. Show him the belly. Turn sideways.
What's sideways?
There we go. Look at this belly.
Bye. I love you.
Love you, babe. All right. Here we go. I really need you to answer this question. What? Never mind. Okay, so when's the baby's due date? It is July the 4th. July 4th. Planning on more than... See, they're asking you a bunch of questions now. I said they're asking you a bunch of questions now. You missed it.
You can answer him.
She said I can answer him. Planning on more kids?
Yeah.
Yeah? How many?
4-ish, 5-ish.
4-ish or 5-ish?
Yeah.
Somebody said Call of Duty time.
Yeah.
It might be Call of Duty time. We've been live streaming for a hot 46 minutes.
Can we turn the air on? It's hot in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do I eat ramen? Do you play sports, extreme sports? Do I eat ramen noodles? I guess we have some, but I never really eat them. David, I am enlisting as a combat medic, and as far as AIT medic wise, I'm a slow book learner, but more fast on hands-on learner. Is it easier at AIT since you don't have the distractions as civilian TV or computer? So you can have your computer at AIT, but as far as being a combat medic, it's going to be a difficult course for you to take. There's going to be a lot of book knowledge for you to do, but there is also that hands-on stuff. So I think if you consider yourself a slow learner as far as like reading books and doing all that stuff, I think that you'll be okay. That's just me saying that. I haven't gone through the training personally myself, but just make sure they're going to give you everything that you need to be successful. They're going to give you all the extra time that you need, if you need extra tutoring, if you need anything at all. Like, you have everything at your disposal in AIT to pass if you want to do it. So just make sure you take all those opportunities if you need them. Matt, how can I have a long distance relationship? It says touch bracelet, but I'm thinking they said relationship at basic training. Yes, you can do it. I think at basic training, technically, almost every relationship is a long distance relationship. It just depends on, like y'all's relationship at the time. If you're doing whatever you're doing, if your significant other is okay with you doing that, then I think you're fine. But if you're leaving for basic training and your significant other is like, I'm going to leave you if you join the Army, then that's probably not a good thing. If you're not married, then do what you want to do. If you are married, then I tell people to strongly take into consideration what your significant other has for a say on that. Because since you're married, you're a family, so it's a family decision. It's not necessarily a personal decision for yourself. So that's just my 2 cents on that. And so, that kind of goes back to people asking me if I want to go Special Forces early in the stream. That's not a decision just for myself. I would have to talk to Kelly about it, and I already know that she wouldn't want me to do that. So there would be no point in ruining the relationship over going Special Forces. Is Airsoft considered Special Forces? No, it is not. Really hope I don't die during basic training. Been working out to get prepared for it. You'll be fine. If you are training, if you have a couple of months of, head time or whatever, and you actually put in the work, then you're going to be fine. Just, during this crazy period right now where the gyms are closed, make sure you're running, make sure you're doing push-ups, make sure you're doing planks, make sure, if you don't have one of those like door pull-up bar things that I have, I would suggest getting one of those and then practicing doing the knee tucks, things like that. I'll only join the Army if there's a war. That's interesting. So if you think about it, if you only join the Army when there's a war, then probably what would happen is you join, let's say, for example, you were doing infantry. Let's say you join, you go infantry, and then right after you get done with training, you go out and you get deployed fresh out of training, okay? But then also, if you were to join right now as an infantry soldier, then you get years of experience, and then we go to war. Well, you got years of experience now as an infantry soldier, so you got pretty good odds there. I have 3 kids, but still thinking about joining the reserves. Yeah, so I mean, the family aspect of things is great for the reserves. You know, you're going to be gone for that period of time when you have basic and AIT, and then you're going to be gone for annual training, which is really no big deal. I mean, it's like a business trip if you think about it that way. If you have just like a normal job and you go on a business trip for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, that's just that. I mean, it'll be okay. You won't really notice it that much in the relationship, in my opinion. And it's a good thing in a sense. Like, for example, when I go to my weekend drills in Texas, you know, Kelly's here, she goes and hangs out with her friends and things like that. It just gives you like a weekend for your wife or whatever to kind of do something without you, to kind of I don't know, have some of her girlfriends come over or something like that. Just my personal opinion. And then obviously if you get deployed, then that's going to be a period of time. But again, deployments are going to be, you know, every 4 years, 5 years or so. So it's not going to be too big of a deal when you're talking about the grand scheme of things in your life, in my opinion. That's what I said. I think somebody had asked a question or something a while back. Or no, it was the last live stream that I did. They were wanting to know kind of the thoughts on generally joining the military. And if you join, even if you don't really like it, this is just my mindset. Even if you don't really like it, if it's a bad idea or whatever, for those like 4 years or so of your life, you're going to get a lifetime of benefits from that. So even if it's a bad decision, the worst thing that can happen is you have a lifetime of good things that essentially could happen to you. What do you recommend for basic training to not have an injury, and if you have it, how to prevent it? So one of the biggest injuries is having blisters on your feet and having just torn up, shredded feet. And so I just said earlier in the stream, make sure you get at least 2 good pairs of good wool socks, and that will help with that a lot. Get moleskin, M-O-L-E skin. That's going to be really beneficial. You know, if you want to just bring some with you to basic training, you can do that. They should let you have it. If not, then it's totally, you know, okay. But yeah, so I mean, that's probably the biggest injury. Other than that, honestly, like, it kind of sounds stupid, but when you're on ruck marches and it's like dark, I'm talking like it's super dark, you're on a ruck march and you're right behind somebody, try not to be like freaking this far behind them. Have just a little bit of space. There's actually a distance that you should be for a ruck march. So you should know the distance that you should be behind the person in front of you. And one of the reasons for that, as far as being more tactical and things like that, but if you're right up on somebody, the reason that you shouldn't be on that is because an injury that a lot of people get, honestly, to be seriously honest, is on ruck marches, people just freaking roll their ankles. They step in a pothole, they step on the side of the road, and they just roll their ankle. They twist their ankle, they sprain their ankle, they do something, and then they fall, and now they're hurt, and now they can't walk and ruck for the next couple of weeks, and now they get recycled. And so those are like the 2 big things. Like a lot of people are going to get blisters, so I just told you how to prevent that. And then one of the next most common things is during ruck marches, people getting hurt. I'd say probably the next biggest thing, honestly, and all this is really simple stuff, but just drinking water and not being dehydrated and becoming a heat casualty, that's another big thing. So make sure you're drinking water. Scad J with a $9.99 super chat, 25th ID. Let's go. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. So I'm assuming you're in the 25th. I'm assuming. Oh, that's funny. Just reading another thing. Matt, do 10 push-ups or I'm unsubscribing. Well, if you're going to unsubscribe that easily, then no. I've done plenty of push-ups and videos for you to be subscribed if that is your requirement. Tell me more about an SMP. I'm an AIT at Fort Gordon, 94 Fox, trying to do ROTC. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, SMP, so simultaneous membership program, that is an ROTC in college, okay? Basically what that means, so simultaneous membership. So what are you simultaneously a member of? Okay, so you're simultaneously a member of ROTC and a like reserve unit. So what you're gonna do, and I mean it's really simple, don't overthink it, but it's just really, really simple. So if you're enlisted right now, if you're even an E1 private, let's say you enlist, you're an E1, then you go to college, you do ROTC, and you contract and you go in the SMP program. Basically, you are going to have the exact same life, same thing. Same thing, okay? You are going to do ROTC, go to class, do all that stuff, you're a cadet. And then that 1 week in a month, you're gonna go to those drills. And at those drills, instead of being an E1 private, you are going to be a cadet, okay? That is a rank in the military. I made a video on it. If you look up in Army regulations, it is an actual rank in the military, okay? So you go to your reserve unit, you are a cadet, okay? You're not an E1. What you get paid as, though, your pay is an E5 pay. So you get paid as an E5, but your rank is a cadet. And essentially what you should be doing there, so if you're hanging out with the enlisted soldiers right now as an enlisted soldier, when you're in the simultaneous membership program and you're a cadet, you should be shadowing the officers there. So you should be hanging out with officers. You shouldn't be really... you can hang out with the enlisted soldiers or whatever, but essentially you should be learning from the officers. You should be getting tasked with a few small things here and there that are like officer-like jobs. You may want to do they may have you do like a PowerPoint or something and do some kind of presentation, but that's really it. You have the same life. You do ROTC, you go to your drills, you get paid as an E5, and you shadow officers. So you don't have your enlisted MOS anymore. I think you said you're like a 92 Fox. So that's gone. You're not going to do that job. You are going to pretend to be an officer, if that makes sense. Cadets aren't officers. They're almost kind of like warrant officers in a sense. Kind of. They're not really specialized in anything, but yeah, so. Okay, so... Let's see. How hard would it be to go to basic training as a 33-year-old? I don't think too hard. I mean, it'll depend on your physical fitness, but I don't think things will be too bad. I've talked about that with a previous video, join the military in older age. I think people are going to treat you pretty similarly because when you have a shaved head and everybody's kind of like an equal, if you're 33 or 27, they're not going to care. All right, so it's just going to all depend on you. So I think you're going to be fine. And we got Fred over here with a 1999 super chat. Thank you so much. Hey, got it. Thanks, man. I totally forgot about the challenge coin. Really cool. Thanks again. Glad the challenge coin made it to you. I really appreciate all the support, obviously, that you're giving me in this channel with the merch that you got, which is how he got the challenge coin, if you guys didn't know. And that super chat is just amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Any thoughts on hazing? So, there are some traditions and stuff in the military that that used to be traditions that are now considered hazing. Some of them I think are stupid. Others I'm like, okay, well, what in the world? I don't think that's really dumb. Technically, the biggest thing that people always think about that is outlawed now is like the blood wings and stuff that you get, and it is when you get infantry, you graduate from airborne school. There's actually a bunch of different things where you can get blood wings and where they do it. And that's basically when you put the pin like right here. And basically what they do is they pound it into your chest. And I mean, it's about that thick and it draws blood. I mean, it stabs you basically. And one of the reasons that that's stupid is because a lot of times those things get infected and people get injured or potentially die, I guess, from that. So other than that, hazing, people are so, how do I put this as a YouTuber putting this out on the internet for forever? People, I feel like sometimes people forget that the military is the military. The military is not the regular world. I don't understand how people don't understand that. Like when you join the military, it's not like the civilian world. It's just not. It's different, okay? It's like a whole different world. But people think that they should be the same and that the military should have the same rules as the civilian world, which it shouldn't. The military has a whole different job, and it's just different. So some hazing stuff, like I said, is just like, I just don't understand why it's stupid. Others I do. But I mean, some things are real bad. But some people think hazing, like drill sergeants can't make privates at basic training do a whole bunch of push-ups and do excessive exercising because that can be considered hazing. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't get that part. But anyways, I think I said that without getting in potentially too much trouble. I think somebody said if you get paid to do RTC. Actually, the answer is yes. You get a stipend from RTC depending on what MS year you are. So if you contract as a freshman, you're going to get $300 a month. If you contract, and then essentially what happens is your sophomore year that gets raised to $350 a month. I think I'm saying it wrong. Your senior year is $500 a month. Your junior year is $450. Your sophomore year is $400, and your freshman year would be $300 a month, $350. Gosh, I'm just getting my math all screwed up. But essentially, yeah, you get paid a little bit. That is supposed to be used for uniforms, RTC expenses. So you're going to spend a little bit of that every month or on different occasions and stuff. So they're giving you that money so you can spend that on military purposes. But if you have things that are left over, then you can spend that on whatever you need. Just make sure you don't blow all that, and then whenever you need to pay for something for RTC, you don't have money. Do I have jump pay? No. Well, was that my question? Because that wasn't my question. Not sure. Did I answer something wrong or something? I may have answered something wrong. I don't know. What job did I do in the reserves? I'm still in the reserves. My enlisted MOS was 25 Bravo, which is Information Technology Specialist, and my officer MOS is Signal Officer. As an enlisted soldier, I was in a transportation unit. Now I'm in a civil affairs unit. So it's like two totally, completely different things. How much money do you get after basic training? Not that much. It kind of really just depends on, obviously, your rank, and how much depends on how much you made before. So if you're an 18-year-old and you go to basic training, it's your first time having like a real job, and you graduate from basic training with like, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in your bank account, you might be like, holy crap, I just made so much money. But then you have other people that may go and they've had a job where they're making like $3,000 a month, and then they get out and they have about that same amount of money, and it's just like, okay, that's about the same. So It really kind of just depends on your rank. So if you want to know how much you're going to make at basic training, they take a little bit of extra expenses out, but you can look up the pay chart for the rank that you're going to go in at, and calculate your pay. Taxes are going to be taken out. Things like that are going to be taken out. But you can kind of get a rough idea. Thoughts on 10th Mountain Division? I haven't really heard all that many great things about the 10th Mountain Division. So, a lot of people don't like it, I guess, because of the location, things like that. But, I mean, I've never, done any work with them. I just know, a lot of people kind of make fun of it. But at the same time, again, like I said before, it's the military. People make fun of everything in the military, so not sure. You ever gonna get new merch? Yeah, I've worked on some stuff, so I can't talk about much right now. But yes, the answer is yes. What branch would I recommend for becoming a fighter pilot? Going to test pilot school? Air Force? Army? I'm not sure. It kind of depends on what you want to fly. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not a pilot myself. I don't know the names of all the different aircrafts. But it kind of, you might want to just figure out what you want to fly, and then to go for the branch that's going to give you the best opportunity, and you can kind of figure that out from a better source than myself, who hasn't done anything with the aviation side of the military. Timothy, what is up? My little brother is in the chat. By the way, Tim, I need to make you a moderator. Hold up. Chat, there we go. Okay, add moderator. Okay, there we go. I gotta make all my siblings moderators. I don't know if there's any moderators right now. I have an idea. There we go, Fred. Leave a comment. You're a moderator now. Benjamin Park. Yeah, my brother's in chat. Show us some mini basketball skills. There's one in the back. Where did I put the basketball? Let's see if I can make it. All right. If I make this, then y'all have to donate or buy something for Atlas on the baby registry. If I make this. Can y'all see it? Can't really see it too much. All right, here we go. I made it, so it's a done deal. Link is in the description to Atlas's baby registry. Let's see, watch this back on replay. Am I gonna become a general? No, I do not want to become a general. That is way too far off. I just saw my reaction. It's that much delayed, if you want to know how much delayed it is. But yeah, so I've talked about this before, but if you become an officer, if you want to make it past lieutenant colonel, okay, so if you want to make it past lieutenant colonel, then you have to do a lot of extra stuff, and you really have to dedicate your career to try and becoming a colonel and trying to become a everybody says good shot. You got to really dedicate your career to doing that. So we want new merch. I'm working on it. Okay, so like I said, I've got some designs that I've done that I haven't published yet, but like I said, I am not doing my normal job as much anymore. So I had a period where I was working extra for my normal civilian job, and now I got a little bit more time dedicated to YouTube. So there's going to be a lot of other things coming in the future. I'm making a military YouTube channel about Rubik's Cube. It's going to be called Military Speed Cuber. Really? Don't know if that's a joke because of my Rubik's Cube that I have in the background. I got my 5x5 over there. I know how to do a 3x3. I know how to do a 4x4 Rubik's Cube. I've got a 5x5. I had one before a long time ago, but it broke. This one is the normal brand one. I haven't learned how to solve a 5x5 Rubik's Cube yet. But, you know, go White Sox, yes. How does transitioning from enlisted to officer work? Depends on your situation. If you want to transition, then you're going to have to do OCS or the Green to Gold program. And I've got videos on, I don't really have one dedicated to OCS, so I take that back. Got a video on the Green to Gold program. If you want to do OCS, then essentially you're going to have to become an NCO before you can submit in a packet to do OCS. And then if you do the federal OCS, it's like 12 weeks, and then boom, you are an officer. So, Jackson Wilson with the $2 super chat. Thank you. Tips for a 17-year-old going to basic in 2 months. First of all, congrats to going basic training. You're 17. Oh, man. So, it kind of depends. Are you a independent 17-year-old, or are you a little bit worried about leaving home right now? But overall, something that is true in my opinion and some other people's opinions is for the 17-year-old, don't give people the excuse to kind of put you off because you're acting immature or something like that. So just don't be immature, if that makes sense, right? So just be your best self, okay? That's that. And don't worry too much about your age. Don't bring it up. Don't do anything. The drill sergeants may ask at some point in time, you know, how old is somebody? Obviously you'll have to, they may make a big charade out of you being 17 or something, but you'll be fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Same thing about joining the military if you're 18. Same thing. I think age, the military is one of those things where your age doesn't matter too much. I mean, some people will always make fun of you or whatever. For example, I did ROTC older than the normal age of doing ROTC because I enlisted first and I had done some college and stuff and my whole career story or whatever. But like whenever I went to Bullock, you know, they were, you know, cracking a few small jokes because I'm like a little bit older than people. Whenever I'm at ROTC and I'm at advanced camp, they got a few jokes or whatever because I'm like a little bit older, but I'm really not that old. I mean, I'm like technically, yeah, I'm less than a month away from being 27. Oh my goodness. I honestly didn't even realize it was that dang close. This whole COVID-19 situation really snuck up my birthday on me. But yeah, I think age isn't too big of a deal. Is being in the military fun? I think it is. Some parts suck, some parts are fun. PFC the S. How will AIT work for reservists switching to active duty? It'll work the exact same. My roommate in AIT was in the reserves, but while he was at AIT, he switched to active duty. Nothing changed with the exception of the fact that he was working with my platoon sergeant and stuff, just making sure that everything was getting settled for him switching to active duty while he was at AIT. So if you didn't know, you could do that, but you gotta, you can't just be like, oh, I want to switch to active duty, and then it happened. You gotta actually put in some effort for making it happen. You gotta coordinate with your reserve unit, make sure you get released from that unit. You just gotta do a lot, but it can be done. So my Nightbot apparently isn't stopping spamming messages. I'm not going to answer spamming messages. My Nightbot's supposed to be fixing that, but anyways. Can I go to basic training before going to RTC? Yes. A lot of people actually do basic training and they do split ops and then they join RTC and then they don't have to go to AIT. So that is an option for you. If you want to get this much of a taste of what the enlisted life is like before becoming an officer, you can enlist and do split option, then do basic training, and then contract an RTC after that, and then you never actually have to do AIT. So, but I also think it is a good idea for you to do AIT, especially if you pick an MOS that is in the field of the branch that you want to branch as an officer. Zion Hearing, $2 super chat. Can I ask you a personal military question? Well, it depends on how personal you're going to get with that military question. But yeah, go ahead. I guess I'm going to have to adjust my spam messaging thingamajigger. Donald Trump, where is your brother? He is still in the chat, I think. I don't know, Tim, where'd you go? All right, Zion, I'm waiting for your message. I don't see it. Matt, my man, how is your family? Daniel, my family is great. Me and my wife are doing great. Atlas is doing great. I've never seen your live stream to get so much spam. Fred, yeah, I know. It is kind of crazy. But you are a moderator now, so you can help me out with that situation. But I guess the night mod isn't doing its job. Zion, where'd you send it at? Okay, Zion's question. I'm going to read it, and then I may say it on the live stream. Okay, so. Okay, so basically, you've got a few issues that you've dealt with, Zion, in your life that are kind of like red flags for the military. So there, you definitely got to disclose all of that stuff. If you've ever seriously dealt with depression, not just, as a kid saying you were depressed, but if it's like a serious thing, like you went to therapy for it or whatever, you kind of have to disclose that. Because the military takes that seriously because of the suicide rate in the military. Because a lot of times if somebody joins the military and they have a history with depression and then some bad stuff happens in the military, they have a really high likelihood of doing something bad to themselves. Okay, so depending on your specific situation, which you're going to have to get figured out with your recruiter, possibly get waivers, things like that, you could be okay. But depending on how bad it is, no issues for 4 years isn't really that long a time, especially if you're like 18 years old or something, 19 years old. But the younger that this stuff happened to you now, you're 17 years old. So I guess that stuff happened whenever you were younger, much younger. So that could be a good sign. So I think you might be okay with that being the case, because that stuff happened to you when you were, not an adult yet. All right, so what time is it? 9:30. I may do a gaming stream tonight or tomorrow or the next day. Not sure. Sergeant Snook, I don't hate you. It's totally fine. I may do a Call of Duty stream, and I'm thinking of doing one playing with you guys, so playing with subscribers, so you guys can, whenever I do the live stream of playing Call of Duty, you guys can send invites, and I can invite you to my lobby and stuff like that. We can play, possibly do like quads in Warzone, or we could do whatever else. We could do the whole tournament on Gunfight, things like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. So, one last question before I get off of the stream. Josh from Memphis COD. This isn't the last question. I'm basically going to check in with the wife, see how everything's going. If she just wants to chill or whatever, then we may be going to bed because she's got to get up early. But let's see. All right, Jada Valentine. Last question. If your contract is up and you want to re-enlist, would you have to go back to basic training? The answer is no. If you get out of the military, and even if it's like a year after getting out of the military and you want to join back up, you can re-enlist, and you don't have to go back to basic training. There is a certain period of time that can go by. I don't know why. I honestly don't know the exact answer, but I think it's like 6 years. If it's been more than 6 years, then you have to go back to basic training. I don't know that for certain. But also, the other thing that will take into effect is if you're wanting to switch branches. You can't switch, for example, to the Air Force to the Army and not go to basic training. You have to go to basic training. Same thing if you want to switch to Air Force, Marines. I believe Navy. I believe if you switch from the Navy or the Air Force to the Marines or the Army, you have to go to basic training again. But if you flip-flop it the other way, you don't have to go to basic training. And pretty much the only reason for that is because of the combat training that you get in the Marines and the Army, and whereas you don't get that combat training equivalent in the Navy or the Air Force. So, I believe that's the truth. But you should definitely check me up on that. Anyways, that is going to be it for this live stream. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Like I said, I got more time dedicated putting towards YouTube now that I'm working my civilian job back to my normal schedule, not doing more. So that's some good news as far as YouTube is concerned. Might be doing a gaming stream tonight. Might be doing it in the next couple of days. Stay tuned for that and my videos this week. The ones that I'm coming out, especially for those of you, if you are new to thinking of joining the military, or even if you just enlisted. So if you're watching this and you're not in the military, the video that I'm going to put out next is probably a good little thing to think about. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you all again coming out for the stream. I'm going to see y'all later.